Everybody. Let me check the audio levels. I think that should be fine right now. Let me know if you can hear me, if it's too loud or too quiet, and I can make some adjustments. Is the music okay or not? I see Sculpt Revive is in the chat already. Hey, thanks for being here. Let's see. Twitch seems to work as well. Alright. It's currently pretty warm here, so I have my windows open. If you hear too many noises, just let me know and I can close the window. Otherwise, it's a bit of fresh air for me. So, alright. 8 people here already. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so I think we'll switch to the full face view here. It's been a while that I did a stream and I decided to take a break from it because yeah, there was too much going on with like finishing my diploma project, then doing a lot of freelance work, doing personal projects, and yeah, I'm still in the middle of all these things except the diploma project that is finished now for a while. But there's still work to do, like on my day job, and I do have some freelance stuff going on at the side. And I'm moving, so as you can see, my shelves are empty now. I will be moving in a few days, so yeah, a lot of change ahead, but I'm really looking forward to everything that's coming. And I wanted to do some sculpting again. I missed doing these live sessions with you. They were always a lot of fun, and I felt like I was accomplishing some practice and doing a bit of work, and I wanted to get back to that a little bit. This is some sort of a closure for me here for this town, so I wanted to do one more stream while I'm here, but there will be more streams in the future, so sorry if I'm touching the mic all the time, but still have to get used to having the mic in front of me again. So yeah, I hope everybody is doing great. Let me see if there's someone in the chat. Terrace, thanks for being here and thanks for welcoming me back. Today is really hot. Yeah, it used to be like 10 degrees hotter last week, but I'm glad that it cooled down a little bit, but still more on the warm side. So, hey Ash, yeah, long time no see. Hope you all had a decent time in the meantime. I know it's been quite chaotic the last year and a half. I hope it's tapering down everywhere now, but I think some sculpting might get a little bit of distraction for us. So yeah, I would say I will just jump into the model that I have here. You can see I have a pose blocked in already. My plan for this is to become a barbarian that comes from the tundra, so very cold environment, and pull that here to the side, just to get to the reference images. You saw a little sneak peek of another project that I'm currently working on. Let me pull these references up here. I hope you can see them. Let me quickly check. Yeah, you should be able to do that. So you can see here I do have a few references from like old school golden age comic artists like Frank Frazetta. And I really like the barbarian anatomy and the dynamic poses that he managed to do. And I want to use them as a reference and give them my own twist. Mostly because I won't reach that level of finesse in the figure as he did. But yeah, I'm going for something similar to this tone here, so very cold. I will probably do a lot of fur and stuff like that. But yeah, not quite sure what kind of costume he will wear, but I'm pretty sure that I will be going in the direction of the pose that I have here. So he's currently looking over the shoulder after he slayed an enemy, and my concept for this model is to have him slain like the leader of an undead army, and he's currently looking over his shoulders, seeing all the skeletons and undead people approaching that want to revenge the king, and I want to make him as badass as possible. So yeah, hopefully I can get somewhere close to that. So, hey Red Panda, thanks for being here. And yeah, if any of you have any feedback or any suggestions, just let me know. The people that joined the streams in the past know you can ask me anything, anytime. And even if it's unrelated to the stuff that's happening on the screen, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have regarding like workflows or freelance stuff or art in general. Just let me know in the comments and let's have a little sculpting round, I would say. So let me start the recording of the sculpting. I'm recording 2 windows right now, so one for the stream and one for the time-lapse video of the sculpting process. So once the model is finished, I will publish the entire process of this one. So yeah, I would say without further ado, let's get going. So I only have the body blocked out so far, and I'm quite happy with the twisting of all the big elements of the body. And I think the silhouette works from all kinds of angles right now. So my next step would be to get back to the standard pose and start work on the head. So I want to block out his face and see what kind of interesting character I can create there. I will probably do something with a beard, not quite sure in what kind of style, but I want to have a lot of muscles exposed because yeah, it underlines the barbarian trait, similar to this one here. So let's get going with the head. Hey Brazilian Dutchie, thanks for stopping by. I hope you had a decent time in the meantime. So Brazilian Dutchie, so glad you're back. Yeah, I missed doing the streams, so yeah, before moving out of the flat that I'm currently in, I wanted to yeah, check in again, just see what everyone is up to. There was a lot of freelance stuff going on and yeah, life changes that were happening. So I decided to pause all the live streams for a while. And once everything is settled with the current situation, I will go back to streaming from time to time. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to do outside from streaming, mainly like personal projects and stuff like that. And I felt like at the end of the streaming cycles that I did, it was all half-baked, so nothing like super focused, and that was kind of unsatisfying on my side. So I decided to take a step back, reorganize myself a little bit, and once everything is settled, I will get back to doing more streams because I really enjoyed them, even though they weren't that beneficial for my channel because all the views went down. So I want to find a good balance of doing like videos or tutorials, something like that. But I promised too much and I couldn't deliver on what I wanted myself. So I wanted to reorganize everything. So, Maki, hi, thanks a lot for your videos. It helped me improve a lot and pushed me to learn more about it. Awesome. Really glad to hear that. And if you just joined, Maki, you can ask questions along the way anytime, regardless of what's going on. So I hope we all have a fun time together. And if you're sculpting alongside, feel free to do that. And let's get going. All right. I think the first thing that I want to do, since I have the pose here already, is to split the head from the rest of the body. And then I can just stick it on the post model afterwards. So for that, I will duplicate the model, just save it for later. And for anyone that's wondering what this is a custom menu that I built. It's not too fancy. I just organize all of the tools that I often use into this menu here. I called it tool collection and I assigned a hotkey to it. So there are a lot of really quick tutorials out there. It's a pretty straightforward process to create something like that. And I always shied away from creating my own custom menu because I felt like I wanted to stay vanilla and have the freedom to go from one computer to the next without, I don't know, feeling lost because I don't have my custom menus there. But I can export the menus and import them into new workstations when I'm switching jobs. And it speeds up my workflow so much. So I can highly recommend diving into that once you have established your own workflows. So I duplicated that and let's mask off the top head here. Delete hidden and close holes. So we have our head separate here. And now I can unhide the rest of the body and hide it again because I want to focus just on the head for now. I think I won't touch the neck area because it will be very dependent on the pose that he has. Because if I turn my head around here, the sternocleidomastoides, or whatever it's called, is way more pronounced on this side than the other side, so I will have to resculpt the neck anyways, and that's why I will neglect it for this step here. All right, then just so you know, I do have my most common brushes assigned to hotkeys as well, so I will be switching them with like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And do I have something in 7? No, I don't. And so if you have any questions what kind of brush I'm using or what I just did because it went by too fast, then just write in the comments. But for now, I'm just going to block out the basic planes. As you can see in my other videos that I normally publish. So just to have the basic planes in place. Should I do like the... I will block out the nose like a normal nose, not the skull nose, because I know that already, but I want to have it somewhere here. You can see that I'm separating the nose from the cheek area here, and that is a very important plane to establish. And I want him to be like a very strong character, like very barbaric, very archaic as well. So he will have more pronounced facial features. And just as a heads up as well, this is going to become a miniature, and this is the reason why everything will be a bit more pronounced than usual, a bit more exaggerated, kind of going in a stylized direction because of the scale of the miniature. Everything has to be a bit more exaggerated to even show up in the print and to be visible from far away. I'm still not quite sure in what size I'm going to print him, because I'm also interested in like the 75 millimeter figures, more like the display figures, and they can display much more detail. So maybe it's going even more on the realistic side than the stylized side if I would do like a 25 millimeter miniature. So yeah, let's see in what direction it will go. Maki, a miniature is like a figurine? Yes. So there are multiple kinds of miniatures, like there are Warhammer miniatures, Citadel miniatures that are used for wargaming, tabletop games. And then there are display figures like McFarlane toys, or what are the other ones? Sideshow collectibles, stuff like that. So they would be more in that kind of range here, so much bigger, and they can show much more detail. And I think I'm going to go in a direction that is like somewhere in between. So between a tabletop miniature and a larger display figure. So probably something like this, I think. So let's see how it goes. All right. Something that's always quite pronounced is this line here from the cheekbone that is going around the mouth area. So let's try to establish that in here as well. And it's this line here that comes from the on top of the nasal labia. Not quite sure what this is called in English. And this volume here flows right from this edge down the face. So comes something like that. Alright. What is always kind of a landmark is the chin area. So the separation of where the mouth is and where the chin is. So I want to have like this staircase shape. So if I exaggerate it, you have like a one step here, and another step here. And this way I can judge the forms much better. Alright. Very pronounced cheekbones here. And they're curving upwards here on the side of the face. And in the side view, I always like to grab the edge of the eye socket and pull it back a little bit to get kind of an angle in the face. Otherwise, if I push it too far to the front, it becomes flat, and that looks kind of strange in a 3/4 view. So that's what I like to do there. And then the forehead. It's very prominent form change here, but I think I will go in that direction because it's a little bit more on the exaggerated side. And I like that. Maki, is there a reason as to why you use clay instead of clay buildup or clay tube? Or it's just a preference? Good question. I used the clay tubes brush for like 8 or 9 years, and it was my favorite brush. Like, it felt kind of good to not let go of the brush stroke and just build form and build form and build form. But you can see there's a lot of texture coming with the brush, and not having a restriction of how much volume I can build with one stroke was kind of too unconscious for me. I don't know if that's a bit hard to explain, but I saw Raphael Grossetti use the clay buildup brush in one of his videos, and it intrigued me to try it out, and it felt kind of nice. Hard to explain. You can see here when I'm building up the form, I don't have to smooth too much out to have a decent surface, and it gives kind of, as you can see here, it breaks up the surface a little bit and gives me hints of where I could like add a bit of irregularities or something like that. So it's very subtle, but I feel like the control over the volumes and the what I add to the forms and what I subtract from the forms is much more conscious, because I have like a limited amount of volume that I can add or subtract from the surface for any stroke that I do. Because you can see here, if I go over the same area multiple times, there's a certain limit that I can change the volume. And this way I like the muscle memory of building forms gets much more ingrained into the muscle memory. I don't know, it's kind of felt right for me, like a long answer for that. But yeah, I never switched back to the clay buildup from that point on, so not quite sure if I will return to that, but I really like not having details on my model while I'm sculpting, because I want to focus mainly on the primary and secondary shapes. Yeah, definitely give it a try. It's worth it. And if you don't feel it yet or ever, then stick to the brushes that you like, as long as it kind of keeps you motivated and ensures that you have as much fun during sculpting as you can have. So let's insert a sphere. Something like that. Probably like this. A little bit bigger. And go the mirror and weld. Activate symmetry, and now we can sculpt over the form just to cover the eyeballs. This is what I like to do. So I have a bit of clay over them, and then I can carve away the eyelids. It's a bit of an elvish looking eye right now, but I'll change that. A bit more resolution to work with. And what's very prominent is that the eyebrows sit quite low, so let's establish that early on here. And for that I will be masking out the eye area. So something like that. I think that's low enough. And let's clean up the eye area. Sometimes it's faster to just smooth out the entire region and establish the planes fresh again, instead of working with an uneven surface and trying to fix it into place. So sometimes that's faster here. And to give him more of an angrier look, I will add these two angles here, so it's kind of a V shape. And this will exaggerate the mean look on his face. Let's exaggerate the line here. Okay, also, do you make a limb by masking the area and then extrude it, or do you use another method? I'm kind of curious. There are multiple ways I'm doing that. So in this case here, I did what you just said. Like, I masked out that area, then I extracted the part here and did adjustment on that. But in other occasions, I would go in like I did with the legs. I used the curved tubes brush, and let's add that here for now. And I would draw out these long tubes to establish the big forms, and then would go from there. So there are multiple ways of blocking out the different parts of the body. And I'm thinking about doing a tutorial just on blocking stuff out, like going from Z-spheres over Dynamesh blocking, then the masking extract options, then the new balloon kind of stuff, the mesh extrude and mesh balloon brushes. There are a lot of different ways to get like a base mesh going, and I think I'm going to make a video on that. Elder Music, how many time you spent sculpting in terms of years of learning and practicing? So I started doing 3D in 2009 or 10, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like on the turn of 2009 to 2010. And I've been doing 3D ever since. I started with a Mudbox, but quickly switched over to ZBrush, so I think I'm approaching like 10 years of ZBrush now. Ash, hey, thanks for being here. I'm currently working on a simple blockout in Maya for an environment scene. I would be interested in that if you make a tutorial about the different way of doing a blockout, so I would be able to find a way that works for me. Yeah, I think that this is what my intention of that video is, that there's so many ways to get to the same result in ZBrush that I think having a variety of options is the best way for everyone to find their own thing that works for them. So yeah, hopefully I manage to get to that in the next weeks. That would be awesome. Elder Music. Bought Wacom Cintiq 16. After a few weeks of practice, I tried to make Golem from Lord of the Rings. Awesome, I did that once as well. Can you recommend something to make? I mean, depends on your goals. If you want to have some kind of a portfolio piece, then try to do something that would fit the art style of the studio that you want to apply to. But if you just want to practice, then make sure you know what kind of direction you want to go in. Do you want to be a character artist or a concept artist or an environment artist? There are different fundamentals that you need to know for that. So, for example, for a concept artist, you don't need to get into like all of the polishing and stuff like that. But definitely like design languages and building up a mental library, a visual library of certain costumes, characters, and stuff like that. As a character artist, I would say study anatomy. It's like the foundation for everything else. And just pick up a few references on Google Images and try to recreate the figures that you see there. And definitely don't shy away from using any reference. It's the foundation to get good. So yeah, and try to keep the projects short when you're practicing. So don't try to do a practice piece that takes like a month to finish. Because it's not practice, then it's performing. And I think when you're going to do like portfolio pieces, then it's a good time to perform. But when you're just practicing, then don't try to do something perfect. Just try to solve questions with the practice. That's my recommendation. Tekrish, hey Fynn, welcome back. Thanks a lot. Stevens, hey. How are you doing, man? Yeah, it's been a long time. Quite a lot of stuff going on, but kind of missed streaming, so I wanted to do one more stream before I will move to another flat, and this is like the closure on that chapter for me. So, and I miss doing like the chatting with all of you, so glad to be back as well. I don't want to make any promises, but in the next weeks I want to get back to streaming a bit more and just work on personal projects alongside with all of you. And yeah, so glad to be back again. Did I miss anything in my absence? Thanks, Ash. It's very, very kind. Elder Music. I'm a solo game developer currently working on a game with my friend about working to improve my skill in ZBrush. I'm in 3D industry for a few years now, learning sculpting to make character concepts. Awesome. Something that I can really recommend is check out tutorials on drawing, like concept drawing or design iterations and thumbnailing and all of that, because it applies to 3D super well. So whatever you can learn from the fundamentals in 3D, in 2D, you can apply to 3D for sure. Let's see who just subscribed. Sitaron just subscribed. Awesome, thanks. Thanks a lot. And let's get some anatomy going here. I hope the other notifications too loud. I feel like they're a bit loud, but Yehu Fraser just subscribed. Thanks a lot. Ooh, and another one. Feels like, or yeah. Shigip. Nazia just subscribed. So many subscriptions. Thanks a lot, everybody. Elder Music. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Or woman, not quite sure. Mr. Arrowhead, thanks for stopping by. And let's see. It's blocking the mouth. The first thing that I like to do with the mouth is just to separate the line of the lower and upper lip. So I have kind of a starting point, and from there I just flesh out the different planes more and more. This is a very important form here for the mouth. Otherwise, if this one is missing, then it feels kind of artificial. But this little form here adds a lot of believability to the mouth. So make sure to include that in your forms as well. And as I mentioned earlier, smoothing everything out and then redefining the planes sometimes is the cleanest way. Otherwise you build on top of like uneven forms, and that can sometimes get a bit out of hand. let's look from the bottom. You can see the mouth is kind of flat, and I want to change that here. Tortig just subscribed. Thanks a lot. So I want to give it kind of a rounded shape, and that is defined by the underlying teeth. So if you have like a very distinct setup of teeth, like they're crooked and all of that, it will affect the lips as well quite a lot. NJ, hey, Fynn, after a long time. Yeah, I'm back. At least for this stream here. I missed streaming as well, so yeah, I need to get back to that. Thanks for stopping by. As you might hear already, the music hasn't changed. Still listen to the old music, at least on stream, because it's free to use. And if anyone's interested, the songs that are currently playing are by Prisoner. He's a lo-fi guitarist, kind of musician, and you can find him on YouTube here. Alright, I think it's going in a decent direction. The chin could be a bit wider. Saif just subscribed. Thanks. Sorry for anyone's name, for anyone whose name I'm butchering. But yeah, I hope I'm doing a decent job, at least on the pronunciation. Probably not. Alright, here I want to separate the forms just like that. So there's a slight change in there. All right, let's get to the ears. And you know the drill. I will insert a sphere here. Not a sphere, plane. It's been too long since I explained everything on the fly. Sorry if I'm correcting myself from time to time, but yeah, so inserted a plane, subdivided a few times, maybe to like 250,000 points. And let's draw out the outer silhouette of an ear. Boom, there we go. Nothing too fancy. Then the not quite sure what that name here is, but like the inner eye flap, it's called that way, and the internal structure of the ear. So something like that. Let's get the different areas established quickly. It's a bit sloppy. You can go a bit slow on that to refine the forms, but I know in which direction I'm going, so I can be a bit more loose drawing these things out. Elder Music, instead of clay, I'm using clay buildup. Is it okay? As so many tutorials, some of them are using clay, some of them clay buildup. Can you say the real difference? The real difference, there's like two options that you can change in the clay buildup brush. or the clay brush, and you end up with the other type of brush. So with the clay brush, I can change the alpha to a square and enable the build-up option in the modifier tab here. Is it modifier? Not modifier, it's... Let's see, where is it? Surface orientation. Samples in build-up. This way I can build up the forms just like the clay tubes brush, and if I add the square here, then it's basically the clay build-up brush. But what I like a lot about the clay brush is that I have to do multiple strokes to get the forms, and this is, I don't know, for me I feel like I'm much more conscious about the form that I'm sculpting than I was with the clay build-up brush. And I don't get distracted with the surface details anymore because, yeah, it's a very soft brush, but very precise in the volumes that you can build with it. And this way, I don't know, it feels more natural to me. Took me like a week, few days to a week to get used to it. But now I feel like very clumsy with the clay build-up brush. So yeah, it was definitely a good decision on my side to switch it. But yeah, you can probably have to decide on your own. Some people still like to use the clay build-up brush after they tried the clay brush. It's just a matter of preference. And I tried it out after watching Rafael Grossetti's time-lapse videos, and I thought, it looks very efficient because he's not spending a lot of time smoothing all the surface details that the clay build-up brush is creating. So I gave it a try and it worked for me. So Chris Jesus, explain everything on the fly. Plane duplicate on the x-axis. Not quite sure what you mean with that. I'm just doing the eye on one side, the ear on one side, because I can just mirror it over after the fact. Definitely not spam. That's suspicious. Glad you're back. How's it going? It's going pretty good, I think. A lot of changes ahead, but I'm really looking forward to like the jobs that are currently in the making and the personal projects that I'm working on. So yeah, on my side, it's going pretty good. Chris Jesus, is your display properties on double, and do you have backmasking on? There is actually no geometry on the backside, so I don't have double on, and I will add the thickness once I'm satisfied with the ear, the major forms here. And yeah, I won't be spending too much more time here before moving on, so let's separate the ear from the rest of the plane and give it some thickness. So I'm just masking out that area here, something like that. And it doesn't have to be too precise, because I will smooth everything out later anyways. So let's hide that, delete hidden. For that I have to delete the lower ones. And let's do a slight polish by groups, and this smoothes out the edges. And then I'm going to zero mesh the entire thing. in this way I can use the what is it called? The Z-modeler brush to give it some thickness. So let's do one more zero mesh. That looks good for me. Let's use the Z-modeler brush, go to Q mesh poly, all polygons, and I will give it a little bit of thickness. And I want to flip it, just isolate the backside and inflate it a tad, maybe a bit more, give it a bit more thickness, something like that. And now I can do Dynamesh again. Of course, with a bit more resolution, and we have an ear with a proper thickness. Let's just clean up the stuff here. Something like that. And just remesh it from time to time to get cleaner forms. Something like that. Alright, and what I can do now is see that it doesn't fit the head at all because it's way too small, but I can do all of the adjustments here. I can rotate it, adjust it to the silhouette of the face, and I try to get it between the bottom of the nose and the eyebrow line. This is a good rule of thumb to position your ear. And it's at a slight angle right behind the jawbone here. So this is where the jaw ends, and the ear attaches right next to that. Alright. This goes in here. And in this area, I think the inflate brush is kind of handy to get that established. And I will slide undercut on that one. A little bit of form change here and there. And I want to straighten out the line here. And someone mentioned if I have like back face culling on, and I do have a shortcut assigned to that, so I don't mess up the other side. If I don't have it enabled, something like that happens. So you can find that under brush and auto masking. There we go. And you can see I have a shortcut assigned to that. So I will activate it to clean up the backside here. Give it a little bit of volume. Chris, just being silly with the on the fly statement, got the effect I wanted because he didn't get it. But it meant that you're sculpting the ear on the plane, then duplicating on the x-axis. Yeah, this is exactly the approach. And sometimes I'm a bit awkward with like jokes and stuff when I don't get them, so sorry for that. It's kind of challenging to my brain to talk and sculpt at the same time. But I will try to do my best so you can get some questions answered and all of that. Alright. It looks a bit cute, I would say, form-wise, so let's try to see if we can get some angles in there. Something like that. Let's see how it looks symmetrical. I just used mirror and weld that you can find under geometry and modify topology. And I kind of like the angle here because it reflects the angles of the eyebrow. Maybe we can even mirror that. Something like that. So it goes in a similar angle than the upper eyebrow. And I think that just underlines the attitude of that character. I think that goes well with it. And I heard that, like, the earlobes, when they're more attached to when there's like a when it's straight connected to the jawline, like this one, and not hanging loose like this, that it's a sign of more testosterone or more aggression, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's a myth, but I can try to mirror the angle here again. So yeah, I think that feels good. Chris, dang, your ear sculpt skills are nice though. Gonna have to use this method instead of squishing a sphere than sculpting features. I think using this method also uses less geometry, right? I think so. I mean, it depends. You have more stuff going on the backside, so there's more detail there. But in the end, I think the poly count is quite similar. But the advantage that you get here with this method is that you get really nice subsurface scattering effects because the thickness is proper. And you wouldn't get that if you would get that with more work when you sculpt the front and back side independent from each other. So, and if you're interested in all the steps of that process, I did a tutorial specifically on that workflow on my channel, so you can check that out if you want. Because it was requested a lot, and I think it was received quite well. And I also mentioned the artist that I got the workflow from. Can't remember his name right now, but you can see it in the description. And he commented on the video as well, which was awesome. And he kind of liked it as well, so definitely check it out. That looks like some weird polygrouping in the back of the ear. Let's go a little bit back. That comes from the Z-modeler extrusion. So yeah, I just had the blue polygroup, and when I inflate or added thickness to it, it created the other two polygroups here. So that's something to expect when you do that kind of workflow, but you can just press Ctrl W and you get a new polygroup for the entire model, or the stuff that you have masked. Alright, I don't like the form here, that's a bit too sloppy. It's a bit better, I think. And I think this is a good blockout for the head so far. Alright, I think the noises from outside are a bit too loud. Let me close the window. I think there's a storm approaching, so I heard some thunder noises. So, just saw a glimpse of the chat for a second. Alright, I think we can play a little bit more with the face here. Getting a few more features in place. Not features, but like sharper edges. Just to separate the planes more clearly. And hopefully this will make it a bit more pleasant to paint as well once it's printed. What am I doing with the nose? You just subscribed. Piyush Sharma just subscribed. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Reminds me of Mr. Manhattan, Watchman Seth from SSF4. Awesome. Yeah, I hope he has this demeanor look. Hopefully I can give him a nice aura of like, don't fuck with me. So let's look from the bottom. Doesn't look too bad, I think. Hello, everybody to just joined in or recently joined. I'm currently working on a barbarian type of character. This is the body that I blocked out. And this barbarian lives in a very cold environment, similar to like the God of War kind of stuff in the beginning, so something like this here. And this idea with the model here is that he just slayed the king of an undead army, and he turns around and sees all the undead creatures approaching him, trying to revenge their fallen king. And I want to make him as badass as I can. So this is currently the blocking. And this is the face for that. So Rizetti just subscribed. I hope I caught that name correct. Nepa Sign Man Glory just subscribed. Thanks. Thanks a lot. And is there another one? Nope, there isn't. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. For anyone that just joined, you can ask me any questions regarding the workflow, like art in general, whatever comes to your mind, just leave them in the comments, and yeah, we can just have a nice chat. Bootnia just subscribed. Oh boy, a lot of people jumping in. thanks a lot, everybody, for liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Fawad Ahmed just subscribed. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Alright, what's next? I wanted to unhide the body just so I have something to reference for the rest of the body. I'm just pushing in the geometry to see it in the context of the character. 3D Scan Store just subscribed. Awesome. Thanks a lot. The pointy corner here. It's strange, so let me push that in. I think what kind of motivated me to do a stream again was seeing all the streams that the Pixelogic channel on YouTube was doing, and I really enjoyed jumping in, seeing other people's workflows and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of great content there going on as well, so I can highly recommend checking that out. Alex SS just subscribed. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right, let's give the ears a little bit more thickness since it's going to be printed, and I don't want them to be too thin. Otherwise, it's kind of breaking off or not visible at all. Chris. Okay, so attaching both head and body should be a piece of cake because you're not appending. You have them both as individual subtools within the same project. Yes, exactly. So I do have them here as separate tools, but I could just export them out as an FBX or OBJ. You can do that here under Z plugins and FBX export import, and then you can bring that into the other projects or save it out as a tool and then load the tool in your other project. So there are different ways to get there. Alright, what I want to do next is to just merge the two. So the head and the ear merge down. You can do that here under subtool and merge. You do find the options to split and merge stuff together. And let's dynamesh it with a bit more resolution because I don't want to lose the sharper edges that I established. And let's clean up the transitions here. Something like that. And hopefully when that model is finished, I will hopefully send it to another YouTuber that I had a chat with. Not quite sure if this will still work out, but it's something secret in the workings. And hopefully it will develop into something a little bit bigger. But it's too early to give details, but just as a little teaser for anyone that's currently watching. Yongzi, not quite sure how to pronounce it, but thanks a lot for the subscription. Amit Sharma, how to mirror object. You can do it here under geometry, modify topology. When I have, for example, something like this going on, what you obviously wouldn't have, but if you want to have a symmetrical model, you can go into mirror and weld, and it mirrors one side over to the other. The same I did here for the eyes as well. So, for example, if there would only be one eye on the one side, then you can hit mirror and weld, and it will mirror it over to the other side. Eevee Gang, hi, I'm just here to say that I like your art and your videos. Have a nice day. Very kind. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by and leaving that comment. All right, what next? Let's see. Let's populate the post character. Or no, I think I will add like hair and stuff first. Like kind of a beard. Maybe something like that here. Let's see. Santiago, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing fine, how are you? Let's duplicate that one and give him some facial hair. Let's deflate it. Cool. There we go. Chef, do you have any tips for character posing? I'm struggling with it. My suggestion would be using the, where is it? The Transpose Master, and look up some tutorials on like using the Transpose Master. It's fairly straightforward. And what it basically does is it combines all the subtools that you have into one mesh, so you can post that, and then it translates all the changes onto the individual models. And I can show you like my posing process that I had for the for this body here. And you can see I tried out the Z-sphere rigging. That turned out a little bit wonky. You can see that there is a lot of weird deformations going on, so I decided to go back and just do it the manual way with masking and rotation. So it's a bit more tedious, and it requires some cleanup afterwards, but it's precise enough for me to do the posing. So it's a very destructive way of doing the poses, but the most non-destructive way would be creating an actual rig, and that would be way too much work for getting like one pose in place. So let's find the music again. Where was it? Music. There we go. And so there we go. Santiago, my back hurts a lot, but in general everything's okay. Oh boy, hopefully it's getting better soon. Or you find what's causing it. For me, it's like my chair. I definitely have to invest in a better chair in the future, especially with the amount of time I'm sitting on it. But yeah, hopefully it gets better. I wish you all the best, man. Hey Catch, thanks for being here again. It's been a long time. So, Chris, so exactly which do you recommend for posing? For me, what works best in these smaller projects is just masking and using the T-pose master, the transpose master, and then manual masking and rotating and all of that. So, Matrix, how many years of practice did it take you to reach a point where your 3D skills could provide a living wage? It's really hard to say, and there's no real time frame that I can say you can expect, because it's what you put into it and how focused you are, and a bit of luck as well, like getting into a certain job as an intern where you can learn a lot, which will accelerate the process. For me, it took like 3 years before I got an internship, but in these 3 years, I was still in school, so I wouldn't count that too much, I would say. But yeah, I think if you focus like a year of your time into like practicing the fundamentals and trying to be, in addition to for production, like doing smaller assets with a decent quality, then you can get quite far fairly quickly. And it depends on what kind of knowledge you have prior to that job. Like, do you have a 2D background, or yeah. But I would expect a few years to get to a decent professional level. If you start from scratch, like if you have other skills already developed that you could add to the table, then it's faster. But yeah, maybe do some classes or something like that in the direction that you want. For example, if you want to be a character artist, then try to get a seat in a master class or something, and this will push you quite a lot. And yeah, try to learn from many different sources as well, and adjust your plan along the way. Santiago, thanks. Yes, I'll buy a better chair. I suppose it's cheaper than buying a new pack. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it's a tricky thing, because like I can still deal with that for a few months, or push that off like to next year or so. But this is what I'm telling myself, at least for the last years. Like, once the next bigger job comes in, I will buy a chair from that. But there was always something more, how do you say that, attractive in the moment to spend the money on. So at one point, at least for me, I have to ignore all the other attractive stuff that is out there, fancy tools. Like, I want to have an iPad for a while now, because I want to practice like drawing a bit more. But I think a chair would be a better idea. Shahid Nur Hakim just subscribed. I probably butchered your name, but I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. And for anyone that just joined, I see there are 102 people watching. Thanks a lot for everyone that joined. I was just stopping by to see what the hell I'm doing here. Really appreciate it, and for all the likes and stuff. So yeah, just to give a quick overview, I'm currently working on a barbarian that is in like a colder environment. I'm looking at pictures here from Frank Frazetta or concept art from Game of Thrones and God of War. I'm going for some kind of this direction here. And the plan with the model is to have him standing over the corpse of an undead king, holding his severed skull in his one hand, looking over the shoulders, seeing all the undead creatures approaching, running towards him, trying to revenge their fallen king. And yeah, I want to make this kind of a badass character. Now he looks a little bit like Kratos from God of War, but yeah, going in a similar direction. I would say that's okay. So let's see. Let's extend the beard a little bit. Just to see where we are going with that. Matrix, thank you. I'm 16, so still dealing with high school. However, in my spare time, I've been working on my anatomy skills. Any books or resources you would recommend? Let me see if the chatbot is working. Hopefully that works. Yeah, there we go. Do I have something for books? Let's see. This is for my tools that I have. And come on, I thought I had some books. There we go. So you should see in the comments now like a small list of books that I found very helpful, and yeah, hopefully they help you out a little as well. Ash, yo Fynn, I really enjoyed today's session, even though I was lurking for the most part. I really hope to see you streaming in the future, and of course, good luck with the moving part. Thanks, Ash. I really appreciate for you stopping by, and thanks, Irvin, for the subscription. I really appreciate it. So, I think what I don't like about the face at the moment is that it's a bit too round. So I will change that more. See ya, Ash. Hope you have a nice day ahead of you, or a nice evening. And see you next time. I will make some announcements before streaming again, so make sure to keep watching the notifications. Where's the other one that I made? This is better. Instant cook brush. Snake hook. Let's close the gap here. And there. Alright. And if I'm quiet for too long, just write something in the chat. Just like Bagini. Bagini? Not quite sure how to pronounce that. Is that Kratos? It's not intended to be Kratos. Trying to get away a little bit from that. But I'm aiming for a similar kind of character, like a real badass that just slain some monsters. So if there's a resemblance to that kind of badass, then I think it's not too bad. I try to give him a distinctive look. Not quite sure how to achieve that yet, but at least that's planned. Right. Let's see, how can we, like for Kratos, he has a very distinct beard. I think it's something in that direction here. But I want to not go into that direction too much, even though it's really cool. I like the angles on Kratos. It's a really nice design. Like Rafael Grossetti did an amazing job. I think I just have to give him hair, and then nobody will compare that to Kratos. But I really like the crown that this guy has. Let's see if I have a few more hairstyles that I could draw from. Like this kind of ponytail. Maybe here from the dwarf setup. This is really cool here as well. Let's bring that over. And for anyone that's who's wondering what kind of program that is, it's called PureRef, and it's an awesome program that I can really recommend. So, I like the thicker beard here. Yusuf just subscribed. Thanks a lot. Let's try that out here. You know what? I will duplicate the beard just so I can compare that afterwards. So let's do that here. And give it some kind of texture. I think that looks kind of badass as well. Let's see, this one. This looks a little bit too weak, I think. This one is like proper. It's a proper mustache. Hey Slayer, happy to see you too. Yeah, it's been a while, and it probably be the only stream for the next few weeks. But after that, I'm really looking forward to doing more streams again. So yeah, it's like just waving that I'm not dead yet, and I'm still around. So just wanted to check in and do some sculpting with all of you again. So let's duplicate this one just to see what we can play around with here. Something like that here. Just subscribed. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Let's see. Nope. Just want to have a few options on the beard. So let's use these references. Let's do zoomish. Keep groups and half. This way I should get much cleaner topology. There we go. And one more time. And one more time. Perfect. So this way I can work in the hair around that. Boop. And let's make them a little bit longer. And I think that's good enough. Let's see. I think I want to have them smaller towards the bottom. I think I have to sneeze. Now it's good. Alright, so I masked the lower part out and I'm just scaling it down. And using the move tool here as well, just to taper it. Achaf, I hope it's pronounced correct. Is it going to 3D printing? Yes, that's the plan. I want to have it as a display miniature in the end. And this is the post that I'm going for. I will still design like some kind of undead king, or at least the head that I will place in his hands. This is currently the design for the head that I'm going for. And yes, I'm really looking forward to printing this one out. Bought your studio just subscribed. Thanks a lot, appreciate it. And for anyone that just joined, you can ask me any questions, even if they are not related to the stuff that's going on the screen. This is more for just chatting while I'm sculpting and having a good time. So if there's anything that anyone wants to know, just let me know. Gonzalo, how big will the miniature be? I'm planning to do like either 25mm miniature for wargaming or a 75mm one for a display miniature. I'm currently leaning more towards the 75mm model because it can just show so much more detail. And I did a few like 25mm models that you can find on my Minifactory page, on my Minifactory page. The link is in the description. There I have a few miniatures there already, but I really like the amount of detail that you can put into a 75mm study or model, so I think I'm going to aim for that one. Maybe I will convert the model to both sizes, so we'll see. But somewhere in that range. Let's do what is it called? Let's slide swirl. I'm looking for spiral. This is what I'm looking for. Not quite sure if it's the right brush for the right time right now. A little bit of asymmetry. Spiral. Yeah. I don't have to lose myself in the details yet. Let's see what happens if we change the beard like that. Gonzalo, if you allow me another question, how do you calculate the depth or large of the details so that it is not lost when it's printed? Is there any technique for it? I think it comes down to experience. I had a lot of models where I did it digitally, then I thought, man, that looks decent enough for printing. I printed it and a lot of details got lost. what you can do, and what I sometimes do, is I go to anti-aliasing half, and I try to match the size on the display that I have with the size that I want to print it out. And if I have a hard time distinguishing the details there, then I should probably exaggerate them. So, for example, in this case, the head is way too small, and I should probably exaggerate the eye features and stuff like that more to accommodate for that scale. But yeah, I think it's a matter of practice and experience, and doing a model, print it out, and then make adjustments and print it out again. So, Gabby just subscribed. Thanks a lot. And another one, I think, Lynn. Thanks, really appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by. Zedipto. Hey Fynn, how are you? Remember me? I'm Zedipto, not Zedipta, after a long time. Yeah, I still remember you. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you had a good time, or that you're doing well. While I wasn't streaming. It's been quite a long time now. Ahmed, you're welcome, and Gonzalo, you too. And thanks everybody for asking questions. It gives me something to talk about, and yeah, it makes these streams a lot more enjoyable for me as well, for any participation, because that's what kept me going in the first time, to keep the streams up, because of everyone that participated in the stream. So I really appreciate it. So thanks a lot. Yeah, he's a sexy dude, I think. I hope I can make him like intimidating as well. I think it was Ahmed who just subscribed. Thanks a lot. I like the beard here. Let me merge down with the small tubes so we can cycle through the beards. Brazilian Dutchie, just give him a lot of scars and skin damage. That looks intimidating. I will probably do like a few bigger scars, so thanks. Philippe just subscribed. Thanks a lot. One thing that I'm planning with this character is that it's fun for painters to paint. So what I heard, or the feedback that I got, was that I shouldn't add too many distinct details on there that define like the story too much, like having certain scars or a certain expression, because that can be added with the paint. So the direction of the eyes that they're looking, I don't want to sculpt it in there, because then the painter is restricted with that direction of the eyes. Or if I have a scar on the eyebrows or something and it's sculpted in, then the painter can't add another story to that character, like having a burned side of the face or something like that. That wouldn't work too much with the scar already in place. So yeah, this is something that I'm thinking about while doing that. I haven't done too much back and forth with the painter yet, but as Brazilian Dutchie is asking, is this for others to paint? It is set out to be sent to other people. Not quite sure if that will happen, but at least that's the plan for now. And I think I'm going with the middle one. Or what do you guys think? I think it's it looks the most decent at the moment. I think number 2. Let's see if anyone is totally against that or not. But yeah, I think that is decent direction to go in. All right, so let's jump back to that one. Slayer, yeah, man. Good choice. Let's see. Let's do another duplicate of that, and then Gonzalo 2, but the detail of the beard, will it come out? I will probably stylize it a little bit more. For me, it's just some texture to get a feel of the character. But yeah, I will probably do like bigger strands of beard. Not quite sure yet, but Gonzalo and Arsenio just subscribed. Thanks a lot. No, was it Gonzalo? Sorry if I missed that one subscriber, but I appreciate it. So Mila just subscribed. Thanks. Really glad that so many people are watching. It's been a long time, and I'm glad that so many people are stopping by. So thanks a lot. 100 people on YouTube. That's awesome. And thanks for all the likes as well. I think it's helping the algorithm to recommend it to other channels as well, or other viewers. So I appreciate that. Bagini, how long have you been sculpting? I started with ZBrush, I think it was mid-2010, so quite a long time ago. So it's been a while. Feels like a thunderstorm is approaching. Maybe you were able to hear that. It's good. Will I do a man bun here or not? No, let's not do that. Let's flatten up all of that stuff here. There we go. Sometimes it's a bit back and forth to get rid of the artifacts, but with a bit of sculpting you can get rid of these things fairly quickly. Anush just subscribed. So, let's see, will I go over the ears here? Let's mask the beard here. And get the main shapes blocked in. I think it's not too bad. Maybe I should start looking at people like Jason Momoa or something like that. Getting a bit quiet because I'm still trying to figure out in what direction this thing should go. Not quite sure if I will go with the long open hair or if I will give him some kind of tail, but feels more archaic this way. At least that's what I feel right now. I mean, he is living in a quite cold environment, so having a long mane could be fitting. But yeah, I won't spend too much time here on the details because it will be pretty much defined by the pose. So I have to change all the details anyways, the flow and the individual strands. So yeah, it's just something to nail the design. And I really like the fur around the shoulders that leave the chest and arms bare. I think there are more examples of that. Somewhere. I mean, this is going in a similar direction. But yeah, I want to have the chest, especially the chest muscles and the stomach muscles. I want to have them naked as well as the arms, just to yeah, display the raw power and strength that that character has. So let's give him the fur here on the back. I want to keep the shoulder muscles here exposed a little bit. So let's have that here. Let's see. Just a fairly quick block out of the costumes, just to not fall in love too much with the details, because I spent time working them out. Just keep it loose. To accommodate for the hair here as well, so it feels like they're tucked underneath the fur. I think that's good enough here. You know what? I think the head is a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is use the T-pose mesh from the Transpose Master to combine a few things here together. Just like that. Mask it, and then scale that one down. You see how much bigger he feels now? Just, this looks more like a muscular child, and I could exaggerate it by scaling up the head even more. So it looks like a dwarf now. Right now, for example, even more. But if I scale down his head, then he feels much more like a large character. So the smaller the head, the larger the rest of the body looks in comparison. And it's a common technique for superheroes to make the head smaller. You can see it in Hulk, for example. And I kind of get blind to the size relationships while I'm working on it. So sometimes it's good just to try things out. Bootney, I'm sculpting and watching you. Awesome. What are you sculpting on? It's always great to hear when people are sculpting alongside. Makes it much more fun. Awesome. Shout out to anyone who's currently practicing. It's something that I enjoy a lot when I hear that. So appreciate leaving your comment here. All right, yeah, that feels much more harmonious with the rest of the body. So when I compare it to this one, now it almost looks comical. So yeah, much better with a smaller head. It's funny that you see these things sometimes only in comparison. So all right, so let's bring that back to the other mesh. And this, for example, where the transpose master comes in handy quite a lot, at least for me to make like overall adjustments to multiple objects at once. And it's the same workflow that I use for posing as well, just that I break the symmetry and then pose everything. So. All right. I think I won't be going that much further because I still have to do some packing for my move. But yeah, I will do a little bit more sculpting and then I will call it a day. So first of all, thanks for anyone that joined today. Like the 2 hours went by extremely fast. Yeah, which brings back fond memories of the past streams. So thanks everybody that commented and subscribed especially and all of that. So but I will keep on going for a few minutes more. Juan, hi, you know how to sculpt for 3D printing? Yes, actually this model is planned to be used for 3D printing. I do have some miniatures for purchase on my Minifactory page. You can check out the description, there's a link to that. And there you can see the stuff that I did for 3D printing. And I do have a 3D printer at home. I'm currently working on this little project here. And more projects in the making, such as this one. So yeah, this is something that I really like to do and that I'm looking forward to spending more time on. Alright, what's next? What can I do next? Let's see. I think one thing that we could do already is just to attach the head and the fur to the post character. I think that could be a lot of fun. So let's do let's hide that for now. Keep all of this and make it merge visible. And this way I can go to my post model and insert the combined mesh here. And what I'm going to do next is use the transpose tool and position the head in place. It's currently obstructed by the blockout mesh, but I can delete that next. So the fur will be moved independently. Just bring it to the decent position here. And then there's a bit of manual adjustment necessary. And let's sculpt away the underlying blockout. So I'll just adjust the hair a bit more here, and then I will call it a day. And yeah, it was a lot of fun streaming again with all of you. So thanks everybody that stopped by, and especially the ones that participated in the chat that were asking questions. I really enjoy doing that alongside all of you. So yeah, it will be a few weeks, I think, before I will do another stream, just because there's a lot of changes happening at the moment. I have to organize a few things. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to doing more streams and doing projects like this here. So thanks everybody that joined. What we managed today was getting from this model to this model. So I added the face and all of that, and more to come. Hopefully the costume and all of that will be more in place, more refined, and more badass in the next update I will show you. And yeah, thanks everybody for joining today. Thanks for all the thumbs up, for the subscribers. Welcome to the channel. If you want to have any question or ask any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments for the recorded session here, and I will try my best to answer these questions. So thanks Slay, thanks Lee, Juan, Achef, Butnia, Bogini. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a great evening or day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video or next stream. We will see. So take care, everybody.